The one day where I get paid equally. Yeah.
We don't have budget.
One day.
You.
One day.
मुझे कपड़े वपड़े दिए गए, देख रहे हो आप, बहुत मजे आ रहे हैं मुझे.
I think the nice thing that's changed over the years, I don't feel my gender. I don't acknowledge, I just feel like I'm a comedian in a comedy club doing comedy.
Now we care less about what people think of us. We live with the boobs and the vaginas, so we are going to talk about it. Simple as that.
First thing first, your honest thoughts on having an International Women's Day. Is it some significance? Is it like, or is it just another day for marketing-driven campaigns, centered around women to make them feel good and sell them stuff? What do you have to say about this?
I make money, a lot of money on that day, so I'm pretty happy that
Women empowerment.
The one day where I get paid equally. Yeah.
I think I have come from the view that it is a marketing gimmick to the view that, you know what, even if it is, it's important, because most women who are working, who are doing so many things, if there's one day that makes them think about where they are and what is happening, why not?
I feel like we still manage to have some conversations.
Yeah.
There's something that starts, and for other men, for kids growing up, for other girls growing up, I think it's very important. Even if it's wrapped with capitalism all around. And if it's for one day, I think even if that one girl can feel better about herself through that messaging, I think that's very important. So as much as I would look down upon all this, I think it's just okay. I'm okay with having this day.
It's like your birthday, right? Like, it's not like you're not special every other day, but you're made to feel extra special on your birthday. And you can eat cake all days of the year. But it's that, like, and I don't mind the marketing and the fussing over and all of that. I think as long as it translates to actual benefits for women, both monetary and otherwise, I think it's great. Just don't demand free labor or free work from us in the name of Women's Day, and it's fine.
Budgets for Women's Day.
Yeah.
Come
We don't
on,
have
man.
budgets
One day.
for you.
One day.
Agree with all of them. I think होना तो चाहिए एक दिन. बहुत अच्छा तो लगता है. मुझे कपड़े वपड़े दिए गए, देख रहे हो आप, बहुत मजे आ रहे हैं मुझे.
If it wasn't for Women's Day, Sumaira wouldn't have her hair straight with makeup. Very important day.
सुमेरा कहाँ होती तू अभी? ना जाने कहाँ पड़ी मिली होती सुमेरा अगर Women's Day नहीं होता.
चेक वाले शर्ट पहन के ओपन माइक कर रहे होते हैं.
सुमेरा.
Most of you guys here are stand-up comics. I wanted to ask you, is this stand-up comedy scene still an elite boys club, or have things improved? Could you give us a reality check on how things are behind the scenes?
I think from where I see it, I feel in the current times, the community, the stand-up community is fairly sensitized. So they actually, a lot of ladies open mics started happening 3-4 years back. A lot of women actually entered stand-up comedy, and numbers wise, overall we are many now, and men are also, if not even if they don't believe in us, they are more conscious of the effect their words can have, and the boys club behavior can have. So definitely it's more sensitized. People are more careful of what they're saying and doing, and people actually have made efforts to be more inclusive, right? I think the struggle we face typically is more from like the audience, right? The audience will take more time to grow up and to understand and to like the idea of a woman talking to them, and trying to be funny. So that will take time, but otherwise that is how I see it now, that, like as a community, we're doing much better than we used to earlier.
No, I agree with Prashasti. As a community, we're doing much better. In a green room, for example, always there'll be like 4 to 5 female comics on the lineup, and like lesser male comics now. Also, before me, I think a lot of, like I mentioned earlier also in another interview, that a lot of female comics have taken a lot of flack for us. And now they've, like for example, Sumukhi, Aditi, Kanis, all these people, they've gone through much worse in terms of not just like the audiences also from that side also. And they've like set the rules ki aisa hota hai, tumhe ye karna hai. But now the good thing is ki it's changed a lot. Audiences abhi aa rahi hai, female comics tickets बेचती है. In fact, मैं तो अपने show Sumukhi Suresh से ही करवाती हूँ. वो मुझे बेच के देती है shows. So that's all I have to say.
The nice thing I feel like in a green room, and even like nowadays in the comedy clubs, I don't feel, I think the nice thing that's changed over the years, I don't feel my gender. I don't acknowledge, I just feel like I'm a comedian in a comedy club doing comedy. So that's a good change.
That's the best thing that can happen.
And I'll add that one more positive thing that has happened is earlier, and we were very few. All our focus is to cheer the other woman. Okay, now we can afford to be critical. Like, tera joke bahut kharab tha.
Correct. Again, we can treat each other like comedians.
Yeah, we can now, we can focus on quality now, because to some extent quantity is sorted.
Like one of you said, it's the audience, So tell me about this audience, like that attitude. Why do female stand-up comics need to joke about boobs, bras, and periods? Is it still a thing? Like, do the audience still react like that?
Yeah, as women, we definitely talk a lot about periods and a lot about other shared experiences, which is completely okay. If you're going to talk about your toxic girlfriend or your wife, I will talk about my period. So yeah, they have issues about, like, if we talk about our exes, oh, you always portray men to be these jerks. They are not always these jerks. I'm like, I lived with one, so I will say it.
I had
so
experience.
Yeah, exactly. I'm talking about my experience. So they fail to realize that it's not that we're trying to make it happen, that we're trying to make boobs and vagina and orgasms happen. It's because we don't get them. So we will talk about them. So, these are just, they don't realize that it's not just we're trying to, like, go into this sexual area of women and this is feminism for us. This is just what we live with. We live with the boobs and the vaginas, so we are going to talk about it. Simple as that. And obviously they fail to understand and see that there's so much more we talk about, and they choose to only focus on this. So,
have you ever come across such incident where you are humiliated while you're on stage by the audience?
Yeah. so I mean, the point number one is that open mics are supposed to be places you go to and get humiliated. That's irrespective of gender. But there's this concept of heckling, right? That the people sitting in the audience who are there to sabotage a show.
Yeah.
And that, I think, happens my first experience with gendered heckling was my first college show. I went on stage with a set that I knew works, like, it's I know the jokes are good, and it was my first experience. I did not know that these guys will not I will not be able to win them over with whatever I do. So typically when people start heckling, you try to make jokes, and if they laugh, they're on your side. But in that audience of 2,000 people, there were some men sitting at the back who were there to humiliate me. And I think that was the first time. I was doing comedy for 1 year before that. I felt my gender on the stage. I was like, oh, this is happening because I'm a woman. And I finished my time, came back, and it was very bad. Like, the kind of experience that scars you for some time. Because I think in the beginning you think it's your fault that you're not a great comic and some guy or someone else would have won them over. But then you realize, it's just a bunch of men who don't want you to talk because it irks them.
Yeah, we had a similar, it was a college show, again, a couple of boys. And I was talking about my life, about being a woman, and they were just like, they just started slow clapping. And then I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to react to this. I was like, if you guys don't want me to be here, I'll just get off stage. And they're like, okay. I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, let me just finish this last joke and then I'll get off stage. I just didn't know what to do. I went off stage. You didn't leave, I left.
Yeah,
I left.
I did. Because I don't know पैसे लिए हैं तो वापस कैसे चले जाए. I was like, आधा घंटा तो पूरा करना पड़ेगा.
लोगों ने मतलब एक बार मुझे कुछ कहा था and I just froze. But I did my whole time, and then the person backstage was like, you shouldn't have. You should have just left. Yeah. I said, but then, what's the point? Yeah.
Dolly, what happens on social media when you put out a video? Do you think like 100 times before putting, because of the comments that will come like about that video or on you or on your parents? Like, people can go to any extent. So does that go in your mind? Malika, also for you also, like when you are doing a gig or you're doing any show, like how many times do you go through that script just to think, yeah, will I get into trouble? Will they say something mean or bad? Or how does that work?
I think for me, I've stopped caring about the whole man and woman wala scene. If men are going to get triggered with this. In fact, I want to trigger them. So I've made it my mission too, because I enjoy it. So yeah. So I don't think that's any of my concern anymore. I mean, there's multiple other things that I can't talk about anymore. So I make sure I don't say them. But about the whole male-female thing, I don't really care about that so much anymore. I don't look at my scripts from that angle. Okay, oh, would men be okay with this? No, I don't think I do that.
My hygiene checks are not kind of focused on appeasing men. It's not that. They're a whole other set because I'm very, very conscious now. Because the thing is, in my case, it goes to my family, you know. I get trolled for stuff that happens with my family, or anything and everything becomes political. And at this point, I'm just like, this is my work. I don't want drama, you know. Let me decide when I want the drama, you know. So, yeah, I'm very careful. I think that's gender agnostic, I would say, most of us, most people in comedy. At some level, we self-censor a lot more now, and with reason. There's no like value judgment ki karna chahiye, nahi karna chahiye. Karna pad raha hai. It's as simple as that. Because everybody just, you know, wants peace at the end of the day. I don't think we think ki what will men think if we say this and all of that. If we did, we wouldn't be here. You know, I think we embody the fact that like we embody zero fucks in certain ways. So no, our hygiene checks, at least not mine, they don't involve appeasing what boys or anybody thinks. No.
You know what you were talking about, abhi check karna padta hai because of other different reasons. Let's come to that. You know, a female comedian recently faced death and rape threats because of the comments she made on a historical figure. What was more scary was the others in the fraternity. I was doing the story, so I spoke to a lot of them, were too scared to speak. Like I completely understand or react to what she was facing because they feared their own safety and their safety of their loved ones. Yeah. So, you know, we have also seen the arrest of another stand-up comic for a joke he allegedly did not even crack. Is being a stand-up comic now a high-risk occupation?
Yeah. I think that is how it feels, of course. You quoted the facts and...
yeah, exactly.
We're all in the same boat. If you call me tomorrow to ask for a quote, I will also ask 3 others that, is it okay to do it? Will I be in trouble for doing it? So definitely, when we start the profession, I don't think any of us thought that this is going to be the stakes. And this is the amount of censorship we'll have to do. And, you know, it's like, now we don't know where the line is actually. If I'm talking about a festival I'm celebrating, I don't know if I should be talking or not because you never know who'll get offended. So it is, and, you know, we are sort of working with it and living with it and figuring out how art can evolve in this.
But, you know, just to tag on to that, I just want to let you know, like, we were getting like Dolly was saying, like we were censoring ourselves way before any of this became an issue. Like in terms of like, will we get hate from men? We were getting threats from men before. It's not just now the men are also facing it, to be honest. Like they're also facing it. But we've been tackling this problem for a while now where we've had to be like, should we talk about our periods? But then we're just going to get a barrage of hate if we do. But I really want to do this joke, but I don't like that's been going on in my head for a long time. So now it's just another topic added on to that debate in my head. But yeah, just to it's true. Yeah, and I think also now men might know like what it's like to just be scared of the backlash.
This Women's Day, what we need to celebrate is journalist Priya Ramani's win. I mean, that was amazing. Do you believe the Me Too movement has made any fundamental changes in your private and professional space?
I used to work in an office earlier. I have colleagues and I know now, and we've been watching the entertainment industry in general, you know, like in and out. And we know that people definitely are more careful now. Like they're still people. Of course, they're perpetrators. Okay, of course, it's not an end to the evil. But whatever was happening, say, you know, like if it was X earlier, it is, say, you know, X minus 0.00x now. What is that equation for? You're getting
solve that question.
Very hot. So no, I see that the men know there can be consequences now. Some of them think the consequences might not really affect them so much, but they know the concept of consequence now. And I think that makes a difference.
Although there's also one side that they have started making jokes about it.
Yeah.
Abbe aise mat bol me too kar degi tere upar yaar. They have made it a verb. Me too kar dena is a thing now. As if we we are pulling it out of our asses, you know, like, so obviously there's that angle which makes it look like, oh, that was just like some drama that happened back in 2018 or something. So yeah, I mean, as a society, we are still there. There's not a big change, like she said, 0.000 something. But I mean, overall, of course, big something that started, and I think men do I think it's just they're scared now, which is great, which is why they're making these jokes. So I like that.
In stand-up, there are no rules like कोई किसका boss नहीं है, तो हमारा तो structured ही नहीं है workplace. तो like I think with like the workshops that we've had, थोड़ा तो definition आया है कि देखो ये है, मत करना. तो consequences भी समझ आ गए अब लोगों को, so वो change तो आया. Prashasti is right.
I think workplaces and powerful men in general now is equally aware of his responsibility, not just his power, you know. So while it was a bloodbath and a lot of, I wouldn't say innocent men, but a lot of people were clubbed together and there was unnecessary damage to both sides. But yeah, I think if you're a man with influence, you don't just enjoy the influence, you also think about the responsibility now. So yeah, that was a good thing that happened among everything else.
Okay, so happy Women's Day. And thank you so much for being with the Quint. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.